John, would you please introduce yourself?
My name is J.D. Snell. I've been a Tempe police officer for approximately 4 years.
And what do you do for the Tempe Police Department as a police officer?
I'm a patrol officer.
And have you been a patrol officer the whole time you've been with Tempe Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you working as a patrol officer back on December 27, 2009?
Yes.
And what shift did you work on that day?
7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
On that date, did you receive a call out to respond to the Tempe Police Station?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the reason you were called to respond to the police station?
Custodial interference. I believe it was a call about the subject not being able to see his child.
And that's the information you had before you arrived at the police station?
Yes, ma'am.
And what time of day did you arrive there at the police station?
About 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
When you arrived, who did you talk to when you first got there?
Logan McQuarrie.
And when you talked to Logan McQuarrie, did he provide you some information about what was going on?
Yes.
And at the time that Logan McQuarrie provided you with some information, did he provide you with a recorder?
Yes.
And when he provided you with a recorder, did you listen to what was on the recorder?
Yes, ma'am.
At the time you listened to what was on the recorder, what did you specifically hear?
I heard two people talking to each other. I heard a woman that Logan referred to as Elizabeth saying that she killed the baby.
And when you heard this, did you believe that this call now had turned into something more than a custodial interference?
Yes, ma'am.
And based on that, what did you proceed to do?
I called my sergeant.
And did you advise your sergeant of what was going on?
Yes, ma'am.
After you advised your sergeant, did you continue to talk to Logan McQuarrie, or did you just let someone else take over the case at that point?
I continued to talk to him.
And while you were talking to Logan McQuarrie, we already talked about the recorder. I'm actually going to ask to approach.
You may.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 12. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is that?
It's the recorder that Logan had the day he came to the station.
And did you at some point on the date of December 27, 2009 impound that recorder into evidence?
Yes.
And is your information, your initials, are they contained on the item to show that you did that?
Yes.
While you were talking to Logan McQuarrie and you contacted your supervisor, did you have any conversations with anybody else?
While I was talking to Logan? No, just Logan.
During the time period that you were talking to Logan, did you have the opportunity to view his telephone?
Yes.
And when you viewed his telephone, what did you see on the telephone?
Text messages.
And what did you do with those text messages?
I photographed them and then wrote them down on field cards, the content.
Did you also record the content of them onto a recording?
I don't recall.
You indicated that you photographed them. Did you photograph the actual phone?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 19. Do you recognize exhibit number 19?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that?
Logan's phone.
And are those the photographs that you took of his phone?
Yes.
Actually, I'm going to look at, because I can't remember if this is in evidence. This time I move for the admission of exhibit number 19.
Any objection?
No objection.
Exhibit 19 is admitted.
During the time that you were talking to Logan, what happened with his telephone?
His telephone lost battery power.
And so did he, at that point, turn it off?
Yeah, he turned it off.
Later on, when you were talking to Logan, didn't he turn the telephone back on?
Yeah, his father brought him a battery.
And when the battery came, were you able to see additional text messages on there?
Yes, ma'am.
During your conversation with Logan McQuarrie or during your investigation, did the name Tammy Smith come up?
Yes.
And how did that name come up?
Logan brought her up about where Gabriel might have been, or that she had wanted to adopt Gabriel at some time.
And did you have any contact with Tammy Smith on that day?
I spoke to her briefly on the telephone.
And when you spoke to Tammy, were you trying to obtain information on whether or not she knew Gabriel's whereabouts?
Yes, ma'am.
And did she indicate that she knew where he was at that time?
Not specifically, but she knew that he was with Elizabeth.
She indicated that he was with Elizabeth?
Yeah.
And after you talked to Tammy Smith, did you again talk to Logan McQuarrie about Tammy Smith?
Yes.
And did Logan provide you some additional information about Tammy Smith?
He had some text messages from Tammy Smith.
Did he also have some recordings from Tammy Smith?
If you're gonna look, when she's asking you a question, if you don't remember, let her know, and then if it may be in your report, then you can refresh your recollection. But first answer just off your memory, and if you can't remember, then you can look at your report.
Yes, sir.
Do you need to review your report, Troy?
Yes, ma'am.
If you could do that.
Can you repeat the question?
I don't remember the question, so I'll start over. Did Logan indicate to you that there were some phone calls that he had with Tammy Smith on his recorder?
Yes.
And is that the same recorder that we already talked about?
Yes.
Did you listen to the conversations between Logan and Tammy Smith?
I don't recall that.
Now, we talked about the text message. Did you look at the text messages that Logan got from Tammy Smith?
Yes.
Like the text messages that he got from Elizabeth Johnson, did you write those down on an FI card?
No, ma'am.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 8. Would you go ahead and take a look and tell us if you recognize what's in exhibit number 8?
The field cards that I wrote, the text messages from Elizabeth to Logan on.
And when you filled those out, did you write those word for word as to what was on Logan's phone?
Yes, ma'am.
I move for the admission of exhibit number 8.
Any objection?
Judge, can we see that briefly?
Sure.
We have no objection, Judge.
Exhibit 8 is admitted.
Your Honor, permission to publish?
You may.
And Officer Snell, did you number these cards?
Yes, ma'am.
And do the numbers indicate an order that you saw these?
Yes.
Did you also date stamp and time stamp these?
Yes.
And the date and time, where did you get those?
Off the phone.
So they were the date and time listed on Logan's phone?
Yes.
Would you please tell us, for the record, what this exhibit is?
It's the text message from Logan's phone.
And is this the one you indicated as number 1?
Yes.
And what does it say?
I killed him.
And what's the date?
12/27/09, 11:53 a.m.
Would you please indicate for the record what number this is?
Number 2.
And what's the number there at the top? You don't have to read the number into the record, but tell us where you got that number.
It was the phone number showing on Logan's phone.
The phone
From
number?
From the sender. It looked
From the
like.
sender. And what does it say?
Coward bitch.
And what is the date from that?
12/27/09, 12:41 p.m.
And what does it say after that?
Pathetic loser, run to daddy.
And the date?
12/27/09, 12:41 p.m.
And I'm showing the card you numbered as number 3. Can you tell us what that says?
It says, "Fine, don't talk to me, asshole, but you will never see Gabriel again. I made sure of that, and you can spend the rest of your pathetic life wondering about him."
And what was the date?
12/27/09 at 12:41 p.m.
And this is number 4. Can you tell us what number 4 says?
It says, "You will never find me. I'm already boarding a plane out of the country. When I'm safe, I'll email you the exact location of dead Gabriel's little blue body if..." It's 12/27/09 at 12:41 p.m.
And FI card number 5.
"If the garbage don't come first. Well, I'm done with you two fucks. This is what liars like you deserve." 12/27/09, 12:41 p.m.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 13 and 14. Do you recognize those two exhibits?
They're CDs from the conversation I had with Logan.
And are they CDs that you listened to earlier today?
Yes.
And do those 2 CDs contain conversations that were on Logan's recorder between himself and Elizabeth Johnson?
Yes.
And at this time, I move to admit exhibits number 13 and 14.
Any objection?
No objection.
Exhibits 13 and 14 are admitted.
And Officer Snell, at the time you met with Logan McQuarrie, did he also provide you a copy of a court document showing that he had a temporary custody warrant to take Gabriel?
Yes.
And did he provide that to you?
Yes, ma'am.
After you had these conversations with Logan McQuarrie and listened to the recordings and wrote down the text messages, did you have any other involvement in the investigation on that day?
On that day, no.
And what happened as far as your involvement? What was it passed on to somebody?
Well, we debriefed the detectives, and then I went home and wrote the report the next day.
Okay, so detectives were called out?
Yes.
From what unit?
I'm not sure.
And did you specifically brief the detectives based on the information you had?
I was one of the officers who did, yes.
Did you have any other involvement in this case?
No.
I have no further questions.
Thank you. Cross-examination?
No questions, Judge.
Okay. Before we let Officer Snell go, does the jury have any questions for him? Doesn't look like it. May this witness be excused. Ms. Andrews?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Victor?
Yes, Judge.
You may step down. Thank you. And the state may call its next witness.
The state calls Officer.
Ms. Ramuno, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Officer. Would you please state your full name?
Alex Pena,
And Officer, who are you employed by?
City of Tempe.
How long have you been employed with the City of Tempe?
Right now, we're looking about 4 years.
And what is your current position there?
A patrol officer?
And have you been in patrol all 4 years that you've been there thus far?
Yes.
I'm going to draw your attention back to December of 2009. Did you become involved in an investigation involving a missing child by the name of Gabriel Johnson?
Yes.
Okay, and specifically, did you become involved on December 27th, 2009?
Yes.
How was it that you became involved that day?
We got a call to do a welfare check at the trailer park at 4605 South Priest, trailer number 153, to check to see if there was a baby there in that trailer park.
And when you heard that call out, did you respond immediately to that location?
Yes.
And who was with you when you did that?
It was myself and my boss, Sergeant Linson.
All right. Now, when you went to that location, approximately what time was it?
1,300 hours?
Okay, will that be about 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yes.
All right. And when you went there, what did you find?
Initially, there was nobody home at the trailer home. About 30 minutes later, the roommate Mr.
Malcolm Phipps? Does
Malcolm
that
Phipps,
sound
yes.
familiar? Okay.
He arrived.
All right, and when he arrived, well, during that 30 minutes, what did you do? Sit there and just kind of surveil the area?
Trying to see if we just kept knocking, trying to see maybe when or if somebody might be home soon.
And when Mr. Phipps arrived, did you speak with him?
I did.
And did you obtain information from him as to what he knew about Elizabeth Johnson and or Gabriel Johnson?
Yes.
All right. Specifically, did he tell you that he had recently moved into the home?
Yes.
All right. Did he indicate to you when the last time was that he had seen Elizabeth?
I believe he mentioned either the 15th or the 16th of December.
And other than that information, was he able to give you any additional information as to where Elizabeth may be or the baby may be?
Other than that Elizabeth was going to take a trip to Texas because she was having problems with her boyfriend.
Now, after you spoke with him, did you ask him for permission to search the home
I did.
and the surrounding area of the home?
Yes.
And did he grant you that permission?
Yes.
Okay, so did you in fact search the home at that time?
Yes.
What did you do to search the home?
Just checked all the rooms, looking for a baby toys, baby items. Checked his room, checked the living room, and checked Elizabeth's room.
Okay. And were you able to find anything in the home indicative of baby items?
Inside the home, no.
All right. Were you able to find things outside of the home that indicated that they were baby items?
There was a metal shed directly right outside in the parking lot area, and inside that shed there was a folded up crib and with baby blanket items in it and other miscellaneous items.
Okay. And did you note all of that in your report?
Yes.
Now, at that time also, did you receive information that a family with the last name Smith might have been involved with possibly adopting the child?
Yes.
All right. And what did you do to follow up on that information?
I initially called Tammy Smith and her husband, Jack Smith. Initially, I talked to Jack, and then he transferred me about 5 minutes, and then he transferred me over to Tammy.
And were you able to determine at that time whether the baby was with them?
According to what Tammy said, they had him, the baby Gabriel, that night, and they were supposed to transfer him over to Elizabeth that morning.
Okay. And was that on December 18th?
I believe so. Yeah, that's right.
Right. Did she indicate that that was the last time she had seen the baby?
Yes.
Did she also indicate that she had been in communication with Ms. Johnson while she was in Texas?
Yes.
Okay, and other than documenting that in your report, did you do any other further investigation in this matter?
No, that's all.
Okay. Now, Sergeant Lenzen was with you and assisted you in the search, correct?
No, I did search.
You did.
Sergeant Lindsay was outside.
Okay. Sergeant Lenzen, though, was able to make contact with Elizabeth Johnson during this time, correct?
Via cell phone, yes.
All right. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you. Cross-examination?
No questions, Judge.
Thank you. Does the jury have any questions for Officer Pena before we let him go? Doesn't look like it. May this witness be excused. Ms. Romano?
Yes, please, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Victor?
Yes, Judge.
You may step down. Thank you. Ms. Romano, you may proceed.
Thank you. Sergeant Lenzen, would you please state your full name for the record?
Elizabeth Lenzen,
And Sergeant Lenzen, who are you employed by?
City of Tempe Police Department.
And what is your current, your current position is sergeant, but do you have a particular area that you work in?
The Patrol Division.
Patrol division. And how long have you been in that position?
I've been a patrol supervisor for about 10 years.
And how long have you worked for the City of Tempe total?
19 and a half years.
I'm going to draw your attention to the date of December 27th, 2009. Do you recall becoming involved in an investigation regarding missing baby Gabriel Johnson at that time?
Yes.
Right. In particular, were you asked to go to the home where the child had last resided with the mother?
Yes,
Okay, and is that located at 4605 South Priest?
yes.
All right. And who was with you when you went to that location?
Officer Pena,
All right, and what was the purpose in the two of you going there at that time?
to check to see if the child was there.
When you arrived at that location, what happened?
There was no one home at the time, and we obtained further information from Officer Snell, who was out with the baby's father at the North Station at 120 East Fifth Street.
Okay, what was the additional information you obtained?
That the mother was supposedly en route back to the Phoenix area, and that she had the child, and that he received a couple of text messages from her, communications from her that there was harm to the child.
And while you were obtaining this information from Officer Snell, had anyone appeared at the house yet, or at the trailer?
Yes, there was a gentleman that said he was the roommate or renting a room in the trailer.
All right, was his name Malcolm Phipps?
Yes.
All right, now did you speak with him directly, or did Officer Pena speak with him?
Officer Pena spoke with him.
Now, during that time while he spoke with him, what did you do?
We attempted to call the mother of the child and speak with her, try to locate where they were both okay.
All right, and were you able to make contact with the mother of the child?
Yes, I was.
Right, and is she someone that became known to you by the name of Elizabeth Johnson?
Yes.
All right, now, when you spoke with her, where were you physically located when you spoke with her?
In the front of her trailer.
All right, and where did you obtain the information to call her?
From Officer Snell.
And when you called that number, did she answer right away?
I do believe I tried a couple of times, and then she finally did answer. We spoke.
All right, and when you spoke to her, was that around 13:52 hours?
Yes.
And that would be 1:52 in the afternoon?
Yes.
All right. What happened during that phone conversation?
I asked her if she was okay and if her baby was okay, and she said they were fine. And I asked her if she would pull over or try to pull over so we could have Texas law enforcement verify that she and the baby were okay.
Okay, did she confirm that she was in fact in the state of Texas?
That's where she said she was. She
Okay.
was driving back for the custody hearing.
All right, so she indicated that she was driving back for the custody hearing at that time,
Yes.
which had been set for December 28th?
Yes.
All right, and what happened then during the conversation?
I said, is there any exits that, I asked her if there was any exit she can pull off so we can have Texas law enforcement confirm that she was okay and her baby was okay. And she said she didn't see any exits. And I said, is there any milepost markers that you're driving by that you can give us that location? Because we do need to verify that she and her baby were okay. And she said she did not see any milepost markers and there was no exits.
And what happened then?
I asked her if she could put the phone up to the baby. I asked her where the baby was, and she said he's right here next to me. And I asked her if she could put the phone up next to the baby so I could hear if the baby was there and okay. And she seemed like she put the phone over away from her speaking to me. I could just hear road noise or just noise in the background. And I said, well, I can't really hear that he's okay. And she said, well, you're not listening close enough then, are you?
Okay, and what happened after she made that comment to you?
The phone disconnected.
When you indicated that it appeared that she took the phone away from her, did you hear her voice in the background?
It faded away as she was pulling it away when we were speaking, so I assumed that's what she was doing, and she was...
And were you able to hear any signs of a child being in the car or a baby or breathing or anything like that?
No.
After the phone call was disconnected, did you try to call again?
Yes, I tried several times to call back.
And were you successful in reaching her?
No.
Now, after you spoke with her on the phone at that time, what did you do?
I coordinated with our dispatch to send an endless message to Texas for an ATL attempt to locate on Miss Johnson and her baby. I want to make sure they were both okay. And we tried pinging her phone against cell phone towers through Cricket. And the ping was pinging, I know she said she was coming back, but we got a ping near Brownsville, Texas, or off of a tower near Brownsville, which is going south and away from Arizona.
Okay. And when you use the term ping, what does that mean? Something that locates where the cell phone is being used?
Yes, it's a tower. It'll hit off of a tower to transmit.
And who did you obtain that information from?
Our dispatcher, who was in contact with the cell phone company.
All right. And after you got that information, what did you do next?
We were sending messages to Houston to notify Houston, our DPS as well. There was a series of notifications we were attempting to make over the law enforcement network and internet. After that, we called out our command staff. They ended up showing up, and detectives at the scene of the trailer, and we briefed them. And after that, we met and had a meeting at the North Station at 120 East 5th Street regarding this investigation.
And was that around 4:30 that afternoon?
Yes.
So during that time, during the time you spoke with her, and between the time that you spoke with her and the briefing, all this other investigation is continuing, and at 4:30, everyone is briefed as to the current status of the investigation.
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you. Cross-examination, Mr. Victor?
Yes, Judge, thank you. Sergeant, you had this telephone conversation with Elizabeth Johnson back on December 27th of 2009, right?
Yes.
And you asked Elizabeth Johnson, in essence, where she was going, right?
I asked her where she was on the freeway, yes.
In what direction she was heading, right?
Yes.
And she told you that she was on her way back to Arizona.
Yes.
But you later learned that that wasn't true at all, right?
I didn't have any investigation after that day. It was taken over by the detectives, so I don't know where she went.
Well, did you later learn, well, actually, did you review the evidence about the pinging of the cell phone that she was talking to you on?
No, I didn't investigate that aspect of it.
So as you sit here today, you don't know whether or not Elizabeth Johnson was heading back to Arizona when she was talking with you, or away from Arizona when she was talking with you?
I obtained that information from our dispatcher, who obtained it from the cell phone company within hours after we spoke. So I got that from the dispatcher, who got that from the cell phone tower.
So which
Or cell phone company, I'm sorry.
So would it be accurate to say that she was not heading back to Arizona at the time she was talking to you?
I don't know, because I'm just going off of what the information the dispatcher gave me. So I don't know the accuracy of the cell phone tower pinging information, but it was a pinging off of a tower near Brownsville, Texas, which is south of the San Antonio area.
Well, what was the information that you got from the dispatcher?
That it pinged off of a cell phone tower near Brownsville, Texas.
In other words, that's where she was near when you were talking with her on the phone?
I don't know. That's what the cell phone company told our dispatcher. I don't know her exact location where she was.
Right, but assuming that the information that you got from the dispatcher, that they got from the cell phone tower company,
Is correct.
assuming that that's correct, I understand you don't know personally, but assuming that that's correct, that's telling you where she was at the time you were speaking with her on the phone, is that right?
Or close to it, yes.
Close to it. Did you then get a later update in terms of what direction they said she was going?
No.
Okay, so you don't know what direction.
Right.
Okay. You asked Elizabeth Johnson if she had the baby with her, right?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say she probably didn't have the baby with her at that time?
I have no idea.
You don't know whether or not you were...
I don't know if she did or not.
Okay.
I wasn't with her.
Well, let me ask it like this. Would it be fair and accurate to say that you didn't gather any evidence that the baby was present with Elizabeth Johnson on that day at that time?
Correct.
In other words, you couldn't hear any baby crying
No.
or any other baby noises?
No.
And of course, that's all you could have because you were on the phone, right?
Correct.
And you're not aware of any other evidence that would suggest that the baby was actually with Elizabeth Johnson on the day and time that you were speaking with Elizabeth Johnson?
Correct.
Fair enough. No further questions. Thank you.
Any redirect?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, before we let Sergeant Lenzen go, does the jury have any questions for her? Doesn't look like it. May this witness be excused, Ms. Romuno?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Victor?
Yes, Judge.
You may step down. Thank you. Okay, I think we're close enough to the end of the day where I don't want to start another witness again. So we're going to take our evening recess, which means we'll break until tomorrow at 10:30. Really, 10:30? So be here ready to go tomorrow morning at 10:30. Until then, remember the admonition, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 10:30. I am going to talk a little bit. I think I want to talk to Ms. Johnson, but let me see. Does the state have anything that they need to talk about?
But, Your Honor, I just wanted to advise the court of this scheduling issues.
Okay.
We have a number of witnesses for tomorrow. We're trying to move some witnesses for Thursday up to tomorrow because we're not sure we have a full day. We'll tell the court I don't think we have a full day both days, and the rest of the witnesses are out-of-state witnesses. Or what's happening is there's a couple of recordings defense has requested us redact some information from before we play that, and we're working on getting those done. But that puts off some of our witnesses until those are complete. And so we just wanted to advise the court, we're trying to make sure we have a full day or as full a day as possible tomorrow, but we probably will not on Thursday. And then on Monday, we have mostly out-of-state witnesses.
Okay. And I would prefer, obviously, we can fill up tomorrow and make the last day of the week the one that we can't fill up. That's the preference. I understand the scheduling challenges. Do the best that you can. We'll deal with what we've got going forward. Let's talk about scheduling. You've got, if all goes as planned tomorrow, Thursday, you've got more witnesses Monday. Do you have more witnesses for Tuesday?
Your Honor, we do. Essentially what we have is we have some out-of-state witnesses on Monday. We have a couple of out-of-state witnesses on Tuesday who are not able to be here on Monday. And then we also have Detective Ramirez who has a recording we need to redact before we can call her to testify.
Okay.
So on Monday, our hope is that on Monday we can fill up as much of the day with 4 out-of-state witnesses and Detective Ramirez, and then finish up on Tuesday.
Okay, when you say finish up, the state finishing its case on Tuesday?
We believe so.
Okay, if the state finishes on Tuesday, that puts us in a position where we have Wednesday, Thursday of next week, and then we have the week after that off, pre-planned, the jury knows about it. The question's going to be, what do we do on Wednesday, Thursday going forward? In other words, does the defense anticipate having evidence it's going to put on for some of Wednesday and or Thursday? If the answer is no, do we try and close on Wednesday? That's what we got to contemplate. We've got the juror that's asking for time off. That's not really nearly as important as getting a schedule that makes sense for us. I don't know, Mr. Victor, if you can give us a sense of where you think we're going to be at if the state finishes presenting its evidence, let's say, near the end of the day Tuesday.
Well, Judge, I actually only see 2 witnesses on the schedule for Tuesday, and unless I'm mistaken, I think both of them are going to be pretty quick.
And then Detective Ramirez will have to testify either Monday or Tuesday. But yes, I believe it will be finished early Tuesday.
All right, so we're going to be finished Tuesday, perhaps earlier rather than later. So, Mr. Victor, from your perspective, where does that leave us?
Well, it leaves us in a position where we're going to have to make a decision about what evidence we're going to present. We don't have a final decision on that yet, so I'm not ready to report that to the court. But in any event, I think, Judge, that I would be shocked if we were not able to get this case to the jury by the end of next week.
Okay. Well, let's explore that, because let's say we get the case to the jury Thursday, October 4th. I think that's the 4th. So they get the case Thursday the 4th and they don't reach a verdict. And they want to come back Monday, October 8th. which right now is planned. I think I'm not supposed to be here. I think Ms. Andrews is going to be out of state. And so I think she would want to be here because if there's a guilty verdict or verdicts, then the state contemplates an aggravation phase where she would need to be here to present evidence. So I guess the question is, what do we do? I don't want to get the jury the case Thursday, have them deliberate for a little while, and then wait a week and start deliberating again. If we think we're going to get the case to the jury, I think any later than Wednesday afternoon, and maybe even before then, we ought to wait to have closing arguments when we come back, because otherwise we're going to have a gap while they're deliberating. And to me, I prefer a gap between the close of evidence and closing arguments. I don't like the gap, but we have it. And we can't avoid it. I would actually volunteer to come in, but that's not fair to the state in terms of Ms. Andrews, because I had already told her she doesn't need to be here because we're dark, and I'm going to respect her desire to be here to see it through, especially if there's an aggravation phase and even if there's not. So we can't, in other words, we can't do anything during the week of October 8th.
Well, Judge, I'm anti-gap. I think I've always been anti-gap. And I don't think we have to just agree that there has to be a gap in the case. I think that if we get to a point where we close, the case gets to the jury, they don't have a verdict by the time the court and Ms. Andrews are out, I don't think it's, with all due respect to the court, Judge, you could just have another judge come and take the verdict. If there are questions from the jury, then we could just simply get the court on the phone, get Ms. Andrews. Really, that's a 5-minute conversation in terms of resolving that question, and then the other judge could sort of handle that. If indeed the jury comes back with a verdict, and it's a verdict that would necessitate an aggravation hearing, I would much prefer to put that off until the next week, rather than put off jury deliberations while things are fresh in their mind. I think that a gap of a day or two isn't the end of the world, but when you're talking about a gap which in essence is going to be, from Thursday afternoon all the way through the next week, through the next weekend and back on Monday morning, that's a long time, Judge. And I think that there's a real danger that the jury forgets evidence. I think we have a danger that obviously with more time, there's a greater risk that they're going to hear media reports and we're going to lose jurors, things of that nature. I would like to do everything we can from the defense perspective to get the case to the jury to see if we can get a verdict prior to that break. And if we can't, our preference would be to do everything we can to deal with juror questions. But Judge, based on the lack of questions from the jury thus far, they haven't had one question on one witness, it doesn't seem like a jury where we could expect lots of questions. But if we get one, I don't think it would be all that hard to get a conference call from wherever everybody's going to be. The court can make a decision on that with whoever the other judge is, and they can come back and answer the question and address the jury with that answer.
Well, you're making a lot of assumptions about the ease with which we could do certain things, and I'm not sure I agree with all those assumptions. I certainly don't hold myself out as being a necessary participant when the verdict comes back if we're not going right into an aggravation phase. Judges take verdicts for other judges all the time. I should be here if or handle any questions. That should be me. I don't think it's fair to ask Ms. Andrews, who's going to be out of state, to basically be on call to handle any question that might come up, especially if she's out of range for a couple hours. I don't think that's necessarily fair. I'm willing to think about it and continue to entertain suggestions depending on where we're at. My inclination is not to proceed the way you would prefer, but I am open to trying to figure out a way where we don't have an appreciable gap at any time. And then if we do, finding the best time to make that gap land in terms of the trial, whether it's at the close of the evidence, before closing arguments, or some other time. We'll have to figure it out.
Judge, another option may be if we have some time this Thursday, maybe they can put the case agent up then rather than
We have
late.
to redact the confrontation call before we can put her on.
Is there some reason we can't get that done? Or?
It takes some time to do that.
Plus, I think from a strategic standpoint, again, we can talk about, put the case agent up first. Strategically, if they want to put the case agent up last, I'm going to respect that, just like I'd respect your ability to order your witnesses generally. So we'll see where we're at. I think we're headed for an awkward place, and we'll deal as best we can with the awkward place and how we get the jury through any time off. I prefer that we not have it, but if we do, we'll deal with it.
Your Honor, if I may, especially since we're talking a lot about my schedule, I'm not so opposed to making myself available for questions. If there were questions during that week period, if the court wanted to make yourself available for that too. The issue is, we all know that that's fall break for many of the schools in the jurisdiction. When we brought in the jury and we picked this jury, they took into consideration that we would not be in trial for that week, and without going back and looking through all of the information they provided us, I don't know if that week's a conflict for any one of them, but if it's a conflict for one of them, then they cannot deliberate regardless. They have the schedule that says they won't be here for that week, and so that's the issue, is we'd really have to ask them, if we finish, are you all available, do you want to deliberate, and if you don't, that really ends the question there. Because they can't deliberate, so it doesn't matter who's available for questions or not. I don't mind being available for questions. I suppose there is a possibility I could be out of range, but I do have Ms. Ramuno, who's here and available as well. I'm not too concerned about that, if the court wants to make yourself available. My concern is the jury is probably not going to be available to deliberate. And if we assume they're not available to deliberate, then I don't want to do closing arguments, have a gap where they're not deliberating and then come back later. I'd rather do closing arguments right before they deliberate.
We can always talk to the jury and tell them, look, we may be going a little bit faster. Are you folks available? We'll see. I would believe that somebody's going to have a conflict because there was the window that was presented to them. But let me think about it, and we'll get together a plan of what we're going to do. Okay, one other item I want to take care of, and Ms. Johnson, I need to talk to you about this. I have a document that I think your counsel gave to you. It's a report that was provided to me. I want to make sure that as we go, we do everything that we're supposed to in terms of keeping the trial going correctly. And I want to make sure that there's no issue with you following all the orders that have been issued by the court, and that would be whether it was me or previous judge, Judge McMurdy, in terms of the things that we all have to do, including you going forward. Do you have any problem following any of the orders of the court?
No, I don't.
Do you have any problems going forward following the orders of Judge McMurdy as it relates to the report that you've got in front of you?
No, I don't.
Okay. And do you anticipate any problems going forward with respect to complying with those requirements?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we're coming back tomorrow. Let's go off the record. So tomorrow at 10:30, and we've got the witnesses lined up, hopefully a full day. We'll put them together as best we can, and then we'll see how much we've got Thursday. I'll start to think about how we're going to do this, but I'm going to work under the assumption, at least scenario one, it's not a given, but scenario one is you finish Tuesday sometime. What does that, and you don't present evidence, what does that mean? And then scenarios off of that, we'll see where we're at. And